Welcome to Network and Chill on the Couch. We're going to be hosting a series of talks with investors, entrepreneurs, and startups who'll be giving us a little bit of advice, some tips, and an insight into their personal journey. We are joined on the Network and Chill Couch today with the lovely Toby, who is founder of a social media and marketing company called BrightShift, who are on the mission to leverage the power of social media for good.
So, yeah, I really think about what we're doing now with BrightShift has been an evolution of what I've been doing for the past 10 years. So I've always had a passion for video and always had a passion for business. And luckily I've got a set of parents who have always encouraged me to do whatever I wanted. So that allowed me to just start my own video business at 13, just filming anything and everything I possibly could, making as much money as I could, reinvesting back into new equipment, and just teaching everything I know from watching YouTube videos. So kind of growing up with YouTube, growing up with social media allowed me to kind of learn as much as I wanted in a relevant capacity, if that makes sense.
Do you think you always knew from childhood that you were going to work for yourself?
No, it wasn't until I properly decided against university at 18. I've been running the event production business up until that point, and I said, right, I'm going to give myself a gap year to see how it goes. If I fail, I'll go to university. If it goes well, then I'll just stay at that. And it was really when I made that decision, I knew that I was never going to go back to university, and I realized that there's never going to be a plan B, that this is what I'm going to be doing. You
needed to commit to this.
Yeah, because I think it's like I don't think I always knew I wanted to work for myself, but I think I always knew that I wanted to do whatever the hell I wanted to do. And that kind of, I matured with that idea. So I think, yeah, when I decided against university, I just said, there's not going to be a plan B. I'm going to make this work. And that's why I think everything has been an evolution up to this point, because I haven't just done one thing, stopped it, started another thing. I've kind of grown up with the business and took on board what I've learned to evolve the business in different ways. So when I left school at 18, it was a video production company, and then it evolved into a social video agency. So we're still with the video and the content at its core. And BrightShift really came about because we were doing really well as a social video agency. We were lucky enough to work with some big brands like Snickers and Canon, essentially using video online, specifically on social media, to generate commercial results. So whether that's creating videos for adverts or just as a general content strategy. And what I then realized...
Sorry, so how did you get those gigs? Because they're really big companies.
Again, it was pushing forward this model of, we don't have an in-house team of experts, we just bring in the best. And it was the culmination of our understanding of video and how video plays a part in today's communication. So you can't just put up a promotional video on social media and expect that to do the rounds. You need to create content that actually engages your audience, that makes them give a shit about that content, and therefore you, to then make them want to share it or tag their friends. So that kind of thing, that approach. So that approach of video and social could only have come from a young team who grew up with social media. It's like social natives. I like to describe them as like people who just instinctively get it. It's not learned, they just understand it. They grew up with social at their fingertips. And I think I've always liked to use my age as a crutch, because it's almost like an excuse to say, oh, I'm not where I want to be yet because I'm only this young. But I actually think in this case, it's worked really well in our favour. Mm-hmm. Because I think this is one of the only industries I could be in as a 23-year-old and actually have people listen to what we're saying, because we instinctively get it, we understand it, and we've got the results to back that up.
So how did you get from what you were doing before into, founding your social media marketing agency, BrightShift?
I think it really comes from being a social video agency and helping with campaigns that actually use video to generate results. I think that gave us, and me particularly, a unique perspective on how video actually plays a role in social media and how it plays a role in advertising as well. And I think a few key things happened which led to going from a video agency to a full service social agency. And one of it was a great band of mentors who have been pivotal to instilling confidence in me and giving confidence in the idea and concept, and always willing to give advice. But also it really came from just understanding the disruptive impact that technology and particularly social media has on society. So Cambridge Analytica scandal, if you know of that,
No.
with the Trump election, the American elections, it all came out that it was a digital agency who hacked and harvested a hell of a lot of data and used that for micro-targeting on Facebook to influence the vote that came out, to basically instill hatred and instill xenophobia to basically swing the election. And I was actually doing consultancy with the agency behind it, Cambridge Analytica, 2 months before on something completely different. And I saw, it was like an open secret, I saw like a signed letter from Donald Trump himself on the wall saying, thanks to Cambridge Analytica, they were pivotal to the success of our campaign. So it was an open secret, and then a whistleblower came out, and then it became this whole big thing. So that and Brexit was kind of the same. Well, I'm not here to talk politics, but how the Vote Leave campaign really came into fruition was through micro-targeting on Facebook. Fyre Festival was a really recent example. I mean, using huge influence in order to basically push a scam. So yeah, Fyre Festival, obviously, the majority of people have seen it. That was a big scam, but they got to where they got to from using influencers and social media in a strategic way. So it was basically realizing all of these things, the transformative impact that social media actually has on society, and a lot of people were using it, a lot of fraudulent people were using it in fraudulent ways. So I basically saw what we were doing in social media and the transformative impact of social media. And coinciding with that, I was being introduced to and becoming commonly more aware of these new generation of companies who view the bigger societal issues as business opportunities in disguise. So a new generation of challenger brands, more often than not founded by younger people, millennials if you want to call them that, who actually are driven to do what they want to do and are very entrepreneurial in spirit and see the biggest issues of our time as business opportunities in disguise. So I basically wanted to connect the dots to have an agency which truly understands and knows how to leverage that link that social media has in society, but driven to use that for good by working with this new generation of companies to help them grow, to help them scale strategically on social media, which will therefore have a knock-on effect to general progress of society.
So you believe for all brands, social media is really important?
Social media is extremely important in how today's people connect. I mean, we're living in a hyper-connected society where everyone uses their mobile phones. I mean, 2 hours and 53 minutes, 4 hours and 45 minutes is spent online daily, and 2 hours and 53 minutes of that is spent on mobile and social. And that is more than any other media channel combined, including TV. So this does dictate the majority of people's thoughts, opinions. It's how people want to project themselves. So it's important as a brand, more so B2C, to know how to interact in this environment. Not just from an advertising standpoint, but from a community standpoint.
I want to touch back on you having a mentor, because I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, I think it is important for people to have mentors. Who are your mentors? How did you find them? And what advice would you give for entrepreneurs? Do you think it's important?
So mentorship is hugely important. I look at it because, I mean, it's almost a cliche that they say you need to learn from your mistakes and failures. It's really important, but having a mentor will allow you to identify those mistakes and failures before you make them and still allow you to learn from them. So I think it's really important. How I found my mentors, the mentors who are most pivotal to me and BrightShift, the number one is Alexandra Dunn, who was the ex-head of social media at Samsung for a good few years, responsible for 15 million in annual social and influencer spend, so switched on. She for the past few years, we've been meeting every quarter. She's been giving me advice, and she recently left to become a consultant, and she was really pivotal in helping me instill the confidence in me that I have this wider vision and I have this wider purpose, and she instilled the confidence in me to actually get that out into the world. Then there's a few others who run marketing agencies who can actually have been on that journey and can help you identify those mistakes before you make them.
So do you believe they are important to
100%.
who you are today and what BrightShift is as an agency?
Yeah, I mean, they say you're made up of the 5 people you spend most of your time with, and I really do believe in that. So surrounding yourself with people who have been there, done that, who really inspire you is pivotal, is really important.
So what makes BrightShift stand out against the other social media marketing agencies?
So there are a few different USPs that stand out, one of which is our approach and the clients that we work with. We only look to work with clients who are looking to trigger positive change in the world. And this allows us to reflect those values in our messaging. And being in a service business, it really does come down to how you interact and sell with people. So obviously, it's a very, very saturated landscape in the marketing world at the moment, especially with social media agencies in London. So being able to have a particular niche and saying we only work with these type of clients to help you achieve what you want to achieve, it essentially allows us to sit, or me personally, to sit across a founder or a chief marketing officer at these particular types of companies, and there to be a natural value alignment, that we both want the same thing. And then from a more technical standpoint, our model is built around the gig economy. So we have in-house, we only have a few account managers, project managers, and our model is reliant on a global network of people that we call BrightShifters. And BrightShifters are senior consultants, freelancers, and influencers who are the very best at what they do and driven to use their expertise to trigger positive change in the world via our clients. So that essentially allows us, as we were saying before the camera started rolling, before 5-10 years ago, you needed to create 4 ads a year with an 8-month lead time on a £1 million budget. And now you need to create 4,000 ads a year on a 1-month lead time, and the budgets haven't changed. So there needs to be a model that can facilitate that, and it needs to be flexible, and it needs to be agile, and it needs to be scalable. So by having a network of people who are only the best at what they do, but they're driven to use their skill set for good, allows us to essentially mobilize and manage bespoke teams fit for that particular project and purpose. And the last USP, I think, is our influencer network. We have got one of the largest daily active Instagram influencer networks in the world, with 375,000 daily active influencers. And we essentially use them for a multitude of different ways. So we can create bespoke teams of influencers around our clients. We can essentially make anything go viral, we can make anything trend, we can make anything culturally relevant, and we use that to back up our campaigns and everything that we do.
So where do you see the business in 5 to 10 years?
So a big shift for me was, if you were to have asked me that question like 18 months ago, I would have just wanted to, from a naive and young standpoint, I would have wanted to just grow the business, make as much money as possible, work with the biggest brands in the world, and sell the company for a shit ton of cash. But now I actually do feel like I'm on the right path, and I feel really, really passionate and believe in what we're doing. I don't want to grow it to sell. I want to grow it organically. So in 5 years, I'll be happy with having an in-house team of around 10, a huge global network known for our global network, empowering remote working, and just having a relatively small roster of clients, ranging from startups and challenger brands to corporates who are looking to be more ethical, sustainable from a CSR perspective, and having a list of around 20 to 25 clients who we genuinely care about, who we're doing good work for, and we're actually creating some tangible change in the world.
So thank you for joining us today,
Thank
Toby.
you.
And if you are interested in hearing any more information about BrightShift, do contact
Me,
at...
Toby at brightshift.co.uk.
And if you are interested in seeing any other discussions with entrepreneurs and their journeys, subscribe now.